security, while investment is for wealth creation. That is, if you are trying to secure your money, that's for savings. While if you want to grow your wealth, investment is the right one for you. Now today I'm going to be explaining the purpose of each of them, the purpose for investment and the purpose of saving. Now, when we talk about saving, think about short-term and long-term goals. Savings is basically you keeping money somewhere, and I always advise people that when you want to save, the first thing you should have when you want to save is something called emergency fund. Now, what is emergency fund? Emergency fund is a fund that you can dip into if something happens to your current source of income. If, for example, you work a 9 to 5, or for example, you run a business and your business runs down today, God forbid, or you lose your job, that's what you are going to live on. So your emergency fund should have enough money to keep you afloat for at least 6 months to 1 year without you working. So it means that if, for example, every single month you spend at least 200 to 350,000 monthly, it means that in your emergency funds you should have how much? 350,000 times 12. That's how much you should have in your emergency fund saved, because anything can happen, right? So that emergency fund is what will keep you afloat until you are able to become more stable. So after you've done your emergency fund, the next thing for you to do is now start doing short-term goals. If, for example, you want to buy a car. A car is a necessity, right? You want to buy a car, you could save for that. You want to build a house, you could save for that. You want to buy furniture in your apartment. So that's short-term goals. So you could save towards that. Now, as a person, if you are somebody that wants to actually build wealth, savings is not the best route for you. Investment is the best route to build long-term wealth. If you are somebody that you don't just want to keep working forever under people, investment is your retirement plan. So I'm going to talk about what kind of investments they are. I'm going to talk about the biggest mistake people make, understanding risk and reward, and why you don't have to choose one over the other. So let me go first from the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make. I've written some down. Number one thing is keeping all of your money in savings. You're earning 1 million, you're saving like 500k. Why? It means that you're not ready to build wealth. If you're keeping all of your money in savings, you're not going to build wealth, because by the time you spend all the money in your savings finish, I wonder what you're going to use to build the wealth. And then investing without understanding the risk. A lot of people too, they follow every investment advice they hear. They don't filter it out. They don't make research. We as people, we don't make research before we just jump into something. So I'm going to talk about some different investments that I know. There's something called stocks and shares. There's something called mutual funds. There's something called bonds, right? So I'm going to talk about stocks and shares first. So for example, companies like GT Bank, Access Bank, Fitsin Healthcare, Okomu Palm Oil, Haradel. There are a lot of companies, MTN, FL, companies that we all know. They make their shares public. That is, the public can buy a part of their company. That is, you become a owner in the company. That's what shares majorly mean. It means that you become a part owner, a shareholder in that company. So, and do you know what a lot of people do not know? You can invest with as little as 5,000 naira. Now, a lot of people used to go and buy shawarma, used to go and buy drink, buy different things that does not even make sense. You can say you can invest with that. And I always tell people that don't rush your investment journey. Investment is, so what did I call investment? Long-term goal. That is, it's not something you rush. I always advise people that when you want to start investing, have a goal in mind. That is, if for example, you're earning 500k or you're earning like 200k. Let me start from the lesser people. Maybe you earn like 100k, 150, 200, 500. You have to be able to like pick out a chunk of your money. I advise people 20% of your income is what you invest. That is For example, 20% of 1 million, 20% of 500k, 20% of 200k, 20% of 100k is what you invest monthly. And do you know the good thing about investment is that it compounds. If you start investing with, for example, 10k monthly, by the end of the month you would have already had 120,000 in your portfolio. And you know the great thing is that in your portfolio your shares will definitely have increased. The price you bought the shares in January will never be the price that the shares will be in December, because they would have increased, because these companies are definitely making their own profits, right? It means that you are also making profit by buying shares from those companies. So you have to understand risks versus reward. Savings are generally safer, of course, but they grow very slowly and they don't like really give a lot of returns. There are definitely some apps that when you save there you get like some interest, but the interest are usually very low. But investment, on the other hand, has a lot of risk but greater potential returns. So I'm going to end this year today, and I will continue savings versus investment part 2 in the part 2 video. And in the part 2 video, what I'm going to be talking about is why your risk should match your financial goals, why you don't have to choose one over the other, and how you can go about investment the right way, apps you can use, and how you can go about savings the right way, apps you can use. And I'll see you in my next video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.